and we want the fans out of their seat. We want to score goals. We want to get them, momentum on our side, and then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, is it we got to be dogs.
And hey there, we are live. Welcome to Afterburn Soccer Show. My name is Nathan Hill. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter, on X at Afterburn Soccer. Also, you can find me over on Blue Sky, on the Sunny Sky app, whatever that is. And we're joined tonight on this unusual Thursday night, since we usually do the show on Monday nights at this time. But we're joined tonight by Jose Carmona. You can follow him at El Chico Carmona. Welcome, Jose.
What's up, everybody?
Good, and we'll be joined in a few minutes by Colin Couvert, our good buddy. He may just be audio only, but we'll get his perspective and his take on a real busy weekend for FC Dallas, for North Texas Soccer Club, and really a busy week for this club, which we'll get to. We'll hear a little bit too. Hey, there's our buddy Hoach there. Has a Hotch.
Hoach is fine with me.
By Hoach. My brother, so that's why I always say Hoach, but it's probably Hotch. But yeah, Jose's eating some dinner there, getting some fuel for the journey.
Yep, of course.
Yeah, if the Thursday nights work better, we may shift to Thursday nights in the future, but we'll just see how things flow for now.
Would work better for me, that's for sure.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good. Well, let's get right into it with a home win for FC Dallas. And unfortunately, those have been in short supply as we started this 2025 season, as two previous home games saw FC Dallas lose to Vancouver and Chicago, who are both solid teams. So maybe you don't panic quite so much seeing what both teams have done since those games. But what's been weird about this team is they won on the road, 2 games and a draw on the road. And so you expect this has got to even out. And so sure enough, FC Dallas was able to come from behind, defeat visiting Sporting Kansas City 2-1 at home, but still a game that offers us some complex pictures of how good this team is, or where this team is going to be coming the end of the season. Because yes, we got the win. You got the win at home. It wasn't perfect, and you like to see a team grind out a win at home. But boy, at times we made Sporting Kansas City look pretty good. So the lowly Sporting Kansas City, who haven't won a game since September. Oh, here comes the man with the plan. Here comes Colin Couvert. So this was a strange one for FC Dallas to get the home win, which is necessary, which was needed, a big sigh of relief. In fact, here's what Sebastian Letjet said after the game.
Amazing, man. I mean, we wanted this home win so much, for us, for the staff, for the fans, most importantly. I mean, this is huge for us. Emotionally, we really, really wanted it.
They wanted it. As Sebastian said, they wanted this win at home. They got it, but 40% possession at home. But let's just start with the positives before we get to that. So, Jose, we'll start with you. What were your positives from this home win against Sporting Kansas City?
Well, the win, of course, the primary thing. The second thing that I was very happy about was seeing Noah Norris get his first start at left back. I also like the fact that this is the first time, even though yes, we made Sporting Kansas City look good, this is the first time where we saw mostly defensive substitutes come in, and that's good. That's what this team's been missing, is they're still a little thin on defense, especially off the bench. So it's nice to see some defensive subs come in to help seal the win.
Colin, what were your reactions to this home win? What are the positives that you take away?
So for me, it's got to be that the team is able to solidify the win. What they failed to do the last 2 times at home. I remember last pod me talking about them being like, "Hey, look, like worst case scenario, you gotta secure this win. You gotta get it done." And Quill did that, and they did that. Was it pretty that second half? No. I think we had one shot that whole second half. Possession was not great, but we got the job done. Now that we've got the job done and shown that we can do it and get 3 points at home, now it's how you build on that and how do you get more possession at home with this very bulldog, very quick passing, very move quick style of play that Quill is implementing. How do you keep possession and do that more often while also keeping that style of play going? They try to keep possession more than anything else, and that is what what kind of killed them against Chicago and oh man, my lord, the in the other home game, that's what killed them. So having only one shot in the second half wasn't great, but I mean, what I take away is that we got the job done. We got the 3 points at home, and I know that Noah Noyes did get his first start, and with Farfan's injury, it looks like he's probably going to get that starting job for a couple months, and I'm happy for him as well. So yeah, that's what I'm taking away from that home win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think with the way the past 2 home games going, and of course, Sporting Kansas City took the lead, and then FC Dallas was able to respond. But for a moment there, after the victory, the road victory against Real Salt Lake, we were sort of like, hey, all right, they've turned the page. It's clear they haven't. It's clear they've got issues to work on. And I mean, and you look at these stats that were showing from the game, 40% possession, 8 shots, 2 on goal, two goals for FC Dallas, giving up 5 shots in goal, 13 shots, just not maybe, 78% passing accuracy. And granted, I think FC Dallas at this stage in their tactical setup, they don't mind kind of playing on the counter. In fact, there's some ways that might, bode well for their lineup, for the way they want to play Lucho and Musa and Farrington and some of these other guys. But still, you're at home. You give up 7 corners. You only get 2. I mean, there's just a lot that you say, we don't want this to be, a trend. I don't know that this kind of approach is going to, bear fruit across the whole season. But nonetheless, from where we were a couple of weeks ago, wondering if this team was going to figure it out at home, hey, they get that. They can check it off. They can keep working on gelling as a unit. And, Leo Chu got a goal. I don't think we were very happy with his overall performance. Here's a question from our buddy Hotch there. Give me the truth, Dad. Is this team below average? So let's start with his question. Statistically, from where we are, I mean, I know schedule, points-wise, we're actually in a really good place. 10 points at this, but yeah, the stats, the numbers beneath it are not so super encouraging for this team. So, Colin, I mean, is this team below average right now? Is it still this work in progress that we just need to wait and see how things shake out?
I think this team at the moment it's bang average. Like, you could make an argument that it's a little above average or a little below average. Like you were saying, the underlying numbers and the stats don't look great, which would make it look below average. But this is a team that has not lost on the road. This is a team that has not dropped any points available on the road. Yes, a draw. I don't consider draws dropped points on the road. Any point is a point on the road. This is a team that you look at that, away record, and you're like, that it's one of the best of the league so far. And if we can keep that up, that's going to keep us in our, I think we're in fifth to seventh, somewhere in there right now in the West right now. That's going to keep us there, which is playoffs. which Dan Hunt and Eric said at the beginning of the season, like this season is to get back into the playoffs and fight in the playoffs, which is what this team's goal is. So if that's the goal, and we're doing everything we need to get there, that's bang on average for me, and that's actually a successful season compared to how we were last season. We're playing a lot better this season as well as a unit, and I don't see how you can say this team is a little below average. If anything, it's bang average. The results, we're getting the results. Stats aren't looking great. A little inconsistency, but it's still early on in the season. It's so hard to tell. But a good third of the way through the season, maybe even half, would be a better time to answer this. But I'm going to go with we're straight average. I think we'll finish like 6th or 7th in the West.
All right, Jose, you want to add to that?
Well, I agree. I agree that we're average, but let me point out that when 18 teams in this league make the playoffs, average means you're a playoff team, and this team right now is a playoff team. The question is where, and that's yet to be determined. What we have to go by, hey, we beat 2 of the worst teams in the league. We lost to 2 of the better teams in the league, and we beat a 10-man team and drew one of the better teams in the league. So, I mean, this team is beating the teams it has to beat. It just has to figure out how to beat the teams ahead of them. And it's still early in the season. I mean, it's we've seen enough to know that our attack can get us goals. And mind you, I like to see this formation when Julio comes back and starts. I guarantee you it's going to look a whole lot better. Also, the defensive shape looks better. The reaction time looks better. And if you're a team that really has no real interest in maintaining position, which this team hasn't shown they're going to do, it's not a big thing for them. They want to basically turn you over quickly and strike quickly, and that means taking chances and turning the ball on the opponent's side of the field. I'm okay with that. As long as the turnovers are coming on the opponent's side of the field and not our side of the field, I have no problem with this team not being a possession team. I'm pretty excited with what's going on. There's reinforcements on the way once several people get healthy, and we still got mid-season to add more players if need be. So I'm pretty happy. I think this is currently an average team, but I think it has upside, and I think that's all we want to see. Is this team has major upside.
Yeah, we know that FC Dallas, or at least the word is that FC Dallas is going to be targeting another center back come summer transfer window. So that gives them potential, because one of the bright spots definitely of this season so far has been Urhoghide, Osaze Urhoghide. Just a wonderful, a quality signing that we haven't had for a while on the back line. Shaq Moore, I think, it's wild that he's a fringe national team guy and has been for a bit, maybe because of just a lack of depth in that position at the national team level. But, he's an active professional player, but we haven't seen, I think, him quite click just as we wanted to. Nolan's going to get a look, which I'm just really excited about. But yeah, definitely another center back could really be nice. The midfield definitely work in progress. So there's reasons, I think you're right, to be hopeful that the best formation, the best set of players hasn't been figured out yet, and that's to come, given time. Get Anderson back, Julio back on the field. Get some of these guys more, and really Leo Chu. If you grab the starting spot, get consistent. Take this opportunity. If not, someone else, please step up. There's opportunity here on this team to really get things clicking. So reasons to be positive, but let's step back to it. Let's look at the bigger positive picture. I mean, we talked about this team getting that home win, but how does it feel to be a fan of a team, to follow a team that gets your opponent's longtime head coach fired? How does that feel, guys? Sporting Kansas City announced on Monday that Pete Vermes, longtime Sporting Kansas City coach, gosh, he's been there 13 years. and will be a Hall of Fame kind of guy. You know, certainly has gone through some iterations of this league, has seen some changes, but I'm tired of seeing that guy on the sidelines. As much as I respect him and the results he's gotten, but and the players he's helped develop, but like, how satisfying it is, Jose. How satisfying was that announcement that SKC?
Very satisfying. Excuse me. Very satisfying. I mean, getting all choked up thinking about it. Anyway, we talked about it being a possibility last week that we thought, hey, if we beat them convincingly, and I think it's even better that the team, being FC Dallas, didn't play great, got a victory, and got him fired, and maybe that's the sign of their team thinking that they were going to come into Dallas and get a W. Maybe that's what they were talking about. Said, hey, Dallas is struggling at home. They haven't won. We should, and maybe that's the way they were viewing it. So they saw any loss. It makes me happy to know that any loss would have gotten them fired, not just a convincing loss, which is what we were all hoping for. But yes, c'est la vie, man.
Colin,
Man, it felt great. After all the Open Cup slander for the past 2 years, I think we've gone out to them in Open Cup. Just the amount of whining he does on the sideline, man. Like hearing him a couple of games on the sideline, man, it feels good. Again, respect the man for what he's done in Kansas City, and respect the man for what he's done as a coach. But you got to ask yourself, I think what the front office in Kansas City was asking themselves is what, everyone knows, because Kansas City is usually a place that's filled. Game in, game out, doesn't matter who they're playing, when they're playing, the stadium is filled. It's been half capacity since September last year, whenever they started kind of sliding off. And when you haven't won a game in 150 plus days or something like that, something crazy, you gotta fix it quick. And I mean, they're taking the action to do that. And when you have your supporter group, which came out last year and said, we don't want Peter to leave, give him a chance, and they're asking the FO to put out a statement that is basically saying, get him out of here, it's not a good look. So I again respect Peter Vermes as a coach, but as a fan of an opposing team that has to play him and listen to him complain for all these years, basically my whole fandom of FC Dallas, good riddance, he's gone.
Yeah, gosh, a competitor. We can say all that nice stuff, but gosh, it was a satisfying moment because really, after the game, I think Vermes said, he told their media that, he felt like the team played better, one of their better games of the season. And maybe you can make that case, but it was still it was a road loss, a team where you outshot your opponent and you lost and all that stuff. So it's the way those stats, we look at them from the FC Dallas perspective and we're like, man, wish we had more possession, wish we had more shots, more corners, all that kind of stuff. But from the Sporting Kansas City, you're like, wait a minute, you had more shots, more corners, more possession, and you still couldn't get the job done. Yeah, it really worked against him in the end, and it's just strange times. Will be interesting to see how they go forward. Maybe they'll look at a former FC Dallas guy like Peter Luxon or something, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But nonetheless, added a little extra, a cherry on top of that home win. Let's go and shift. We're going to come back to FC Dallas in just a moment, but shift over to North Texas. North Texas had a pretty forgettable weekend. They welcomed Sporting Kansas City 2. We're up at 1.3-1, and then gave up 2 goals. Went into shootout, kind of lost momentum, and lost the ensuing penalty shootout. So just a point for them, while Sporting Kansas City got 2 points to take away. Not the result they wanted to be in that position. Definitely one where John Gall, head coach of North Texas, kept the team in the locker room a little bit longer than usual after the match to let them know perhaps his perspective on those drop points. But that said, there were still some positives from this one. Tarik Scott got a brace, really good performance from him. And even in the penalty shootout, JT Harms, one of the new signings, a decent enough showing. He saved a few penalty shots. It was a good experience for him. It just shows that this team is still very much a work in progress after almost a complete roster turnover. Not too dissimilar from our senior team. So, any thoughts on this result that we want to add? Colin, we'll start with you, then Jose.
Like you said, it's a positive for Tarik Scott. Looking at the senior roster, we thought maybe coming into the season that he would get maybe some minutes off the bench with the first team, and with how the first team's set up and the acquisitions, I don't see him getting time. So it's good that he's at least getting time somewhere with North Texas. It's good momentum to get that first career brace as well. A lot of teams and a lot of young players, when they get that for their pro contracts or their first pro teams, it kind of unlocks that confidence for them that they can do it. So it's one of those things where it's great for him. For me as a defender, the defense has to get better. Again, with these young teams and turnover, like you can get away with pulling the strings during games with your offense and your midfield shape, but that defensive shape has to be solid for 90 minutes, and that is going to be one of the hardest things to do and to coach. Is okay, we got all these different defenders, different backgrounds, different like styles of play growing up. Now how do we gel them into like the system we want to run that's best for everybody while also playing to their strengths? And that's one of the toughest things as a coach. That's one of the toughest things as a club as well, is because you want to instill your identity, but you also want to instill the positives for your players and those types of things. So it's one of those things you kind of just gotta roll with the punches. Again, like I've been saying these past few weeks, like the team is raw, the team is super young, and it's going to be a bit of growing pains. And this is one of those moments where you look back and you're like, yeah, we're up 3-1. We need to solidify that game, get the 3 points, and move on with our season. And we end up dropping points, dropping 2 points. So it's one of those things, you look back and you're like, dang, we should have done better, but you just got to move on and keep going.
Jose, any thoughts from this result for North Texas Soccer Club?
Yeah, I think it shows something that I've been suspecting early on in the season, and that's simply a lack of depth. The big story for me I was not surprised that they allowed 3 goals. I mean, they started a defensive mid at center back because of injuries and whatnot, and then Sarver had to start at defensive midfielder, and that's not his position. So you had at least 2 kids that were, due to lack of depth, being forced to start out of place, basically messing up the defensive rotation. In all honesty, and you see the result is the team going out and signing more players, because that's frankly what needed to be. If they're not getting enough players coming down from FC Dallas to fill that depth, then those signings are a necessity. And I'm really impressed with the kid they signed from the Scottish Premier League. Sure, he played for a team that's getting demoted, but still something like 18 starts in the Scottish Premiership, and that's not including cup appearances and whatnot. And before that, he had 69 starts in the Ghanaian Premier League, and this kid's 19. So that's an amazing ad for a team at that level. And then I know you were saying good things about our goalkeeper, but they signed an academy goalkeeper. But that should tell you that maybe they're not so happy about the goalkeeping play at the moment, and or just send messages that say, hey, you need to up your. But no, I'm satisfied. I mean, I think the signings shows that the team is still working on improving, and we haven't seen the final iteration of this team yet. They're still finding its place, still adding players, and there's rumors that there's a couple more signings in the works. Academy players being signed to professional contracts. There should be some more announcements coming. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm not happy that they had to settle for 1 point, but I understand why that was, and I'm happy to see them addressing that.
Yeah. So this week, North Texas announced the signing of Academy goalkeeper Nico Montoya. So expect him to push JT, to make that a competition. And yeah, I hope my comments of because I like what I see from JT. I think he's let down a bit by his back line right now and stuff, but still obviously a work in progress. There's obviously, which is a good sign for MLS Next Pro when there is a jump from college. There's a transition from college to this kind of professional environment. I think that's a good thing to throw JT in to see if someone is.
By the way,
Aaron Essel, the signing from St. Johnstone
Yep.
FC is an interesting, intriguing kind of signing.
Defensive midfielder, and he captains the Ghanaian U23 squad. So a
So
solid
the kind of signing
for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Great.
Kind of signing that FC Dallas.
Yeah, the kind of signing that you would hope.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been looking for those kind of diamonds in the rough.
I also think it should. Yeah, but I think this is the kind of sign that shows purpose. You're not bringing an obscure player that was an academy player for another team like in the past we saw. This is a kid who has professional matches under his belt, significant amount of professional matches at his young age. And I mean, 19 and being the captain on a U23 squad for your national team. Yeah, this is the kind of addition I think that shows that North Texas intends to make a proper defense of their title, and I expect them to add more players to fix the issues they have with depth, which of course affects the rotation.
Hey, well, let's shift back. Of course, we'll be watching North Texas as they continue their campaign this weekend. But let's shift back to FC Dallas. They're preparing to face and travel to Atlanta United. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot to at the other news this week, and that's being Farfan being injured.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Well. I mean, we sort of touched upon it with Nolan Norris being the starter, which I'm excited about. I think I want to see Nolan get this opportunity. But yeah, you're a bit of a worrisome thing to see Farfan, who's been such a reliable presence on this back line, an important player for FC Dallas. Yeah. So Jose, what do you think about that? What do you want to share about that?
Well, I guarantee you that no one's more excited about this than me, as I selected Nolan Norris to be the breakout player for us this year. I expect him to get a lot of minutes early season, but not at the expense of really one of our Iron Man players. And I'm hoping it's just the 2 months and not much longer. I am happy to see that Norris is going to get a lot of games. I think it's important for his development. But at the end of the day, if this team wants to be a playoff contender, they need Farfan starting, and Nolan, coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But this is great. This is great. We'll get to see what the kid has because I mean they're gonna target the hell out of him.
Yeah,
and we'll see how he holds up under pressure. But I'm excited to see him get that opportunity.
And it may even benefit this defense because maybe Nolan, because he's young, that you don't want to put too much pressure on him, and you would just want to say, hey, and not that I think Nolan's ready. I mean, the kid has been so crucial to North Texas. He's had minutes before, and he's been getting lots of minutes with the youth national team. But maybe you just say, hey, you can be a little more conservative. You don't have to do everything Farfan does, and we can let Shaq Moore be that more conservative presence kind of initially. And so maybe it'll help a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, we got questions here from our buddy Hotch here. Lots of questions. So what should our default or standard formation be? We've seen a few different formations now with the addition of new talent going forward, which is best suited with the current roster. And Hotch, buddy, I just think the problem is I think everybody's still figuring this out. I mean, I think we've seen an improvement in the last couple of weeks with Lucho in a little bit more of a wing role, kind of that classic diamond shape. But it's clear that like maybe some of our wingers don't quite fit yet, or they're not quite in rhythm yet with all that. And our midfield is still a work in progress. Whether we go with the single pivot, the double pivot, so there are a lot of questions. Any other takes on that question, guys?
I mean, for me, I would want them keep running this diamond, and go from there. Because what I like about it is Quill. You know, on paper it's like a 4-3-1-2 with like three center mids, and they're all like flat across. But we see it more as more like a 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, with Delgado and Leggett more forward, Romero kind of sitting back, and then they can all rotate the diamond, so they can. What I like looking at is it's like a little graph at the end of the week, and it shows like based on constant position and link up play, like where these players are, and for us, seeing like center mid, and like DM, or like center mid, like way deep, you can kind of see it's like that diamond shape, and I think what we need to do is work on that. But if we're gonna do that, I think the plan's got to be that Kike has got to be starting. The kid looked really good in his little 10-minute cameo for Dallas. Me, Austin, Sam, and the guys did a little shirts tuck for Kike as he came on, and what I loved about him is he's very high energy, very in your face, not scared to make a challenge or a mistake. Many times he'd miss a tackle and would sprint right after the guy, not necessarily to take him down like Romero or Leggett would, but to try and recover and get in front of him.
He was very aggressive
And
too.
I think very aggressive, and I think he has to be pivotal and get on the field if this 4-3-1-2 or this diamond shape, whatever you want to call it, if this is going to work. Because unless you have a true DM or you're playing a double pivot where it's more of like a four, like a what I guess if the FIFA kids would call like a 4-2-2, where you have two of your center mids playing deep and your two center mids playing, or cams really playing out wide, kind of like how we had the winger / cams with Paul and Jesus last year. So it's one of those things where you have time to experiment. We're still early in the season, and I don't have a what is best suited. I would say of the diamond that we're running now with Kike starting maybe over Romero, and then letting Romero and Leggett take over those minutes, or starting next to each other and let Romero get up the field a little bit more.
And Sebastian had a good game. I mean, I think we can say that on Saturday.
I'm gonna go and disagree with Kuv and say Romero has looked excellent the last two games, staying deep, and he actually played the full 90 minutes this last match, which was my biggest concern, is because could he go 90, and he did go 90 in a very tough match, and I'm personally happy with I'll be okay with Kaike coming off the bench and working his way into the rotation. And if he beats out Ramiro, that's I'm fine with that too. But I think Ramiro's playing his best ball right now because of the formation. And honestly, I do want us to go back to the 4-2-3-1, but not in the way that it was being played. The way it was being played, you got to remember that Ramiro was up higher, and Costa was up higher. And honestly, if you're going to play the 4-2-3-1, Ramiro has to be the deeper. He has to be not a single pivot, but he has to be the deepest defensive midfielder. He has to play a defensive midfielder, not a linking midfielder like they were trying to have him play. And Acosta has to be not so high for that formation to work. And you saw that Ramiro does his best work when he stays home and can focus on being a defensive player. Mm. And sure, I would be happy if Kaike at some point, beats him out of the lineup. But I wouldn't want to force him in front of him if that's not necessary. And I don't think it's necessary at the moment.
Good stuff. I mean, I just think it's just I think Quill is still figuring out the
Yes.
levers to pull, to get the most out of this team. I think, Hutch's next question was about just should we be a reactive team the entire season to how our opponents line up, or dictate our own style game in and a game out. And I wish we could dictate our own style, but I just don't think this roster is in that place yet. And maybe over the summer transfer window we can get closer to that. Maybe they can develop some rhythm and imprint themselves on the game more. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And frankly, right now, for what Quill has brought, I mean, the team is playing so much better on the road. And I think that's a trade-off that we take compared to where we were last season, which really doomed us. But all right, we need to shift on because I do have a hard out here in a bit. FC Dallas goes on road. A lot of road games this month. It could be a really bleak month for FC Dallas fans. So don't lose heart. But of course, the way this team has been playing, there are road points to be had, and it may suit FC Dallas. Of course, they go to Atlanta first this weekend. Here's what Quill said ahead of the match this week.
Stay humble. Know that every game matters, especially now going on the road, and at least we have some things to reflect upon. In our last few road trips are really positive. So I think we have a good mindset, a good psychology on the road right now. But this is a really tough opponent in their home, which is huge crowd. So there's a lot of elements that we haven't probably seen yet, and we've just got to stay together and stay aggressive, stay with the mentality that we're not going there to exist, and we're not going there to for a point. We're going there for 3.
So let's do some predictions. As FC Dallas travels down to Atlanta, to Georgia, where there's some good barbecue too down that way. What are we thinking? This is one of those Eastern Conference games where it's just sort of like bonus points. If you lose, it's disappointing, but it's not something that you maybe go, you stay up all night about it come into the season. But you get a point, it's bonus. You get 3 points. And Atlanta is a talented team. They have a lot of good pieces. It's not quite come together yet. I think for them this season, there's been some disappointment. So definitely a work in progress for them, just like FC Dallas. But I think that means that there are opportunities here for FC Dallas to at least come away with something from this match. So I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I just feel like FC Dallas is going to play the counter. They're going to find a couple of goals. Logan Farrington, Musa, maybe getting something going. But I think this defense is going to also give us something from that end. So what are your predictions for this weekend, Jose?
I will actually take a 2-1 victory for FC Dallas. And I'll tell you why. Atlanta, for all the talent that they've shown, their defense is actually worse than FC Dallas's defense. They've allowed 10 goals compared to FC Dallas's 9, and they've only scored two additional goals over FC Dallas. Furthermore, they've yet to be the team that would be considered, in a playoff position. Their 2 wins were against teams that were 10th or worse, and that's just 2 wins. They have a nice draw against Cincinnati, but other than that, they're frankly not much different than FC Dallas. They're a team that has good attackers and a terrible defense. These teams could be mirror images, in all honesty, with the issues that they have. Not that they play the same style or anything like that, but they have similar issues and similar strengths. The only difference, I think, is I think FC Dallas has figured out how to at least solidify their defense to some extent, which I don't think Atlanta United has done yet. Their last game, they won 4-3. So, yes, Atlanta still has defensive issues. Dallas' defense is not much better than Atlanta's, but at least they're starting to show that their defense is showing improvement, and I think that'll be the difference. I think this will be a very, very, very what do you call it? I'll be chomping on my nails throughout the whole match. Is what I'm getting at, because there's going to be a lot of turnovers going both ways. it's going to be a lot of action, but I think at the end it's going to be a late match winner for FC Dallas to steal 3 points on the road.
Colin?
Man, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm leaning. I mean, I'm leaning towards a loss, but again, that Hodge reading my mind here because I'm not able to see chat on my phone. But we haven't lost to Atlanta in league play. It's, I mean, both won twice and then tied once, so it's very even. But the last time I remember us going on the road to Atlanta, I believe was with Lucci. And I believe we won that game. It was a Michael Barrios goal, and someone else scored for a 2-1 win. And Atlanta was way better than us back then. For me, man, it's hard. It's hard to predict what will happen because again, both of you made good points. Like our defenses are both atrocious. Our our firepower is great. Like we have one of the better strikers in the league. We have a former MLS MVP. They have one of the better strikers in the league. A former MLS MVP. Like they've shelled out almost $60 million in transfers these past 2 years. Like I'm going with my heart. I'm going a 3-3 draw.
Okay.
I think it's going to be
That could be
firepower
fun.
as much as I was predicting or thinking a 3-2 loss. I gotta go with a little bit of bias in my heart too, and just say 3-3 draw.
And I think that just goes to show that we all think that there's points to be had here. This team has a chance to come out. Even a draw on the road in MLS is a great result. So there's
100%.
This team has a chance to at least achieve that in this match.
All right, last topic for tonight. So we got a couple of draws predicted. We got a win on the road. It's going to be an exciting one. I think that points to this how much roster turnover is going on, and just how hey, especially with these two teams, we don't know. We'll see. And FC Dallas has the chance every game to kind of figure out that next step, figure out that next piece, and kind of have the pieces click. So let's wait and see. But all right. Also, the big announcement this week for FC Dallas, they had an official press media event about the stadium construction. Lots of happening there. Of course, building on the Hall of Fame construction, but adding to make that stadium there in Frisco a premier space with shade, with more amenities for FC Dallas to come. Here is Dan Hunt. On his comment, which I thought was fascinating to media about what this construction project means.
I talked about my dad's vision for this community and knowing that we were in the right place. He said it before he passed away. He said, guys, I put you in the right place. And he was right. The vision, the leadership, the opportunity to build a facility like this when Major League Soccer was struggling, but also the foresight to have the field complex behind us. And if you look at all the talents it's produced, but then to work with the school district and work with the different, economic development corps and CDCs, it's really just been such an amazing blessing. And this day it's another day in this gigantic journey that we're here. It's been a 20-plus year journey already, and I talked about it, and it's not about the next 20, it's about the next 100. We're very long-term in what we do, and we're here to grow the game of soccer, and part of our commitment of doing that is building what I think will be the finest soccer-specific stadium in the entire world.
You heard it there, folks. 100-year vision, which ambitious from Dan Hunt, rocking the beard. Good old Mr. Hunt. I hope I get to connect with them at a future game and chat with them a little bit about that, because I appreciate the ambition. But Colin, I'm gonna start with you. Of the three of us here, you spend much more time in Frisco than we do. What have you seen from the construction so far, and what gives you hope about the plans to come? Even as you drive, please stay safe.
I am 100%. So, Frisco itself and the plans for the construction, it is growing. And we've been told Main Street's gonna grow and stuff on the stadium's gonna come in, and yeah, there's been like one or two things that have gone on like this trip away from the stadium and not really anything else. And seeing the construction that they've made and the plans and everything, I can now see why nothing's come in, because they've been wanting the space for the businesses, the business buildings they're building, and there's been like a little farmers market across the street. The possible thing we talked about at a meeting a couple years ago is, kind of like a Texas Live style thing going like right next to the stadium. And it's always been what is not only good for the community, but also for the club and for the city of Frisco. It's never been a focus on the team, and it's never been a focus on the city only. It's honestly a really good partnership you don't see with a lot of people, with a lot of towns and their professional clubs and stuff. So that's really nice and heartening to see. With the construction, I'm super excited to see how the stadium's going to turn out. We all know how renderings can get changed with the final products and everything. So will it look the exact same? I mean, I'm hoping so. If so, it'll look absolutely amazing and beautiful and sick. But I think the big comment, like you were saying, that sticks out to me is, it's no longer like what's the next like 5, 10, 20 years. It's the next 100. When you look at these clubs like overseas, like you look at these clubs like Arsenal, Bayern, like Madrid, Barcelona, like how many of these clubs have not only moved stadiums and built new ones, but how many of these clubs are making renovations to their stadiums, making them better, making them bigger, adding things to their cities around the stadiums,
Right.
And soccer's only going to grow. I mean, I've grown up. Wichita Falls has been a very soccer-heavy town for the high schools and areas around. So I've grown up in a soccer city. It's one of the things where that really brings community together. So seeing that go to like a bigger city like Frisco and the DFW area, we've developed so much talent in 20 years. What's to say, or in 30 years? Let's say we're not going to grow more in the next 30 or 100. So I'm really excited to see what I'm going to see in my lifetime, and hopefully what my kids see, what we'll see in their lifetime. It just continues to grow and grow. And I agree. Like I think the stadium renovation is going to be huge. It's going to be great for the city of Frisco as well, and for the club. But it's going to be also a good, lay down a path for the future generations as well.
Well, good stuff. I mean, unfortunately, we don't get much time. I have my heart out tonight, guys. So I have to close it. So
I just wanted to add, I'll keep it brief, that besides the stadium, there's also like $1 billion or $2 billion being spent on renovations across the city. I mean, there's some serious construction going on, not just in the stadium, but in Frisco. A sign that place is blowing up, and good to see the team blowing up with it too.
yeah, it's good. Well, let's leave it there, guys. Jose, Colin, drive safe. Jose,
Good night.
Good to see you. Enjoy. And thanks everybody for listening. Our buddy Hotch there. Thanks for giving us some questions for us to chew on. Of course, we'll be posting the audio a little bit later tomorrow, and I have some video and audio from Tarik Scott that I want to share after the North Texas game. So look for some good content on Afterburn.soccer. Otherwise, we'll see you on Saturday. All right.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
See you guys.
Night.